Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
So, hello everyone. So, today we are going to learn the Anthropocene and what it is all about. So, this is part of this Urbanization and Environment course, and we are still in module 1, and this is lecture number 5, the Urbanocene within module 1 of this Urbanization and Environment course. So, with this, let us move on to the major concepts that we are going to cover through this lecture on the Urbanocene. So, as I mentioned that first we are going to shed light on what this Urbanocene is all about, because by now we already know about the Anthropocene and the Capitalocene. So, we had discussed these two concepts extensively. We had also talked about the planetary boundaries framework as a major approach or a paradigm to kind of validate this present geological epoch, which is this Anthropocene. So, now we are going to talk about the urban story in the Anthropocene, and this can be explained by the rate, scale and shifting geographies of urbanization. So, we will discuss that, and then we will argue that why anthropogenesis is urbanogenesis. So, there are debates about this as well, but then the data, the information and facts that we have on the current nature, patterns, pace, scale of urbanization, that would to a great extent kind of provoke us to understand that this is the era of the urban Anthropocene. Finally, we will be also talking about the global south, because this current pattern and nature of urbanization, and if we think about this shifting geographies. So, we know that this unprecedented mega urbanization that we are encountering today, I mean most of this largest megalopolises, they are part of the global south. So, these are the developing cities, they are like expanding, they are increasing in size like anything, by kind of consuming and swallowing up or gobbling ecological patches, and by kind of sprawling into their wider ecological infrastructures. So, we will be talking about this irregular urbanization in the global south, and what are the additional challenges that is posed in front of the planet. So, Tua Mint, who is an expert on who is an expert on rural outmigration. So, she consulted robust data sets in terms of calculating outmigration, rural outmigration from Asia. So, her spatial context remained the Asian cities, and Tua Mint through her one of the major works, which is known as the Long Read, which came out in 2018. So, she argues that we have already transformed. I mean this present context is the context of the Urbanocene, because this transformation from the Anthropocene to the Urbanocene has already taken place. And she said that that this global climate change and rural outmigration, these are connected. And why are they connected? Because like global climate change to a great extent can be explained by changes or transformations in our individual consumption patterns and consumption behavior, and also the lifestyle dynamics. Now, if we see that these lifestyle dynamics in cities are largely different from the rural areas, though I do not want to kind of draw a linear conclusion on this, but definitely there is no doubt about the fact that the emission rates and the consumption patterns in urban areas are much more than that in the rural areas. So, what is happening is that definitely this is exerting a whole lot of pressure from local to planetary scales in terms of extraction of planetary resources. So, this is something which we really need to think about, and this pressure on the biophysical components and processes of earth and the earth system, this is again leading to the transgression of the planetary boundaries. So, urban plays a crucial role, and I think urban can be considered as one of the very important indicator, or even one of the crucial variables that is crafting this transformation at the planetary scale. So, there is no doubt about the fact that that urban or urban settings really play a very important role in terms of exerting pressure on the carrying capacity or the underlying resilience of the earth system. Lusold, while Tuamint argued that there has been a shift from the era of the Anthropocene to Urbanocene, Lusold, who is connected to this urban research lab in Berkeley, he was more interested to the to this particular coinage, which is this urban Anthropocene. So, Lusold argued that he argued that this two, urban and Anthropocene, they are not disparate, but they are rather connected. So, it will be more scientific to use urban Anthropocene instead of Urbanocene. So, because urban Anthropocene, then it is a combination of both these terminologies to show the interconnections between the two. And definitely Lusold, in his research lab, he also does with his team a lot of research on this shifting scales of planetary urbanization during our recent times. And of course, they also have this research lab has generated huge data sets about this spectacular evolution of the earth system with urbanization as a prime driver. So, and finally, I would also like to talk about one very crucial intervention. So, the work by Mendieta, this is a very recent work, it just came out in 2019, last year. So, Eduardo published this particular article called the Age City. And this article was published in this critical philosophy of race in 2019, and here Mendieta he says that how part of the story of the anthropogenesis of humans is the story of the species urbanization. So, anthropogenesis is urbanogenesis. So, this is the context of the Urbanocene, where we need to understand this urbanization as an indicator of the current amplitude of the Anthropocene. So, when we are discussing urban or when we are discussing urbanization, I think that urbanization is actually not a new phenomenon, because all of us know that like during the ancient period, during the ancient times, the world visualized the growth and prosperity of very important cities, which were also the bed of civilization. So, Stuart Pigott, it's a famous remark by Stuart Pigott that no city, no civilization. Then why are we discussing urbanization so much these days? Is the current urbanization different from the waves of urbanizations that the world visualized in the preceding centuries? The answer is obviously yes. So, what is so new about, or so drastic or dramatic about this new urban moment, about the new urban transition? So, the new thing is that 2007 is a landmark year, because as per the report by this World Urbanization Prospects, which was published in 2008, 2007 is a crucial year when for the first time the urban population of the world, it surpassed the rural population. And this is a major phenomenon, because we have to understand that by their very own definition, cities are actually not self sufficient. So, cities actually have to depend on hinterlands, on pasture lands, on rural areas for their subsistence, for their survival. So, the very fact that the urban population surpassed the rural population is a big thing, to be internalized and to be thought upon. So, what we find is that if you see this data between the 1950s and then there is a projection for to 2050. So, this is a kind of a 100-year data, including real facts and including projections, and again published by this the same report, this World Urbanization Prospects to 2018. So, what we see is that in 1950 the percentage for the urban population of the world was 30%. All right, and so within a period of 26 years, that is, so within a period of roughly 26 years, it changed to like 55%, and now the projection is that by 2050 it will be like 68%. So, one can understand that the accelerated pace in which this planet is actually urbanizing. And this is very much evident, and this can be explained by the changing rate, scale and shifting geographies of urbanization. I would highlight on this, and we will have we will have a lecture dedicated to this particular phenomena of shifting geographies of urbanization, and what are the additional challenges that it brings into the table, when this loci of urbanization has actually shifted to the global south. So, we talked about rate, scale and shifting geographies. So, if we shed light on the rate of urbanization, we find, again I am quoting Tu Amin. So, she draws our attention to the clock speed of cities, and she says, the way that the planet is urbanizing. So, what is happening is that the metabolism, politics, economics, everything has become out of sync with nature. So, there is no sync with nature or even the less urbanized areas. So, so she says, a little bit of, I find a little bit of satire in her remark, where she says that we now have no option, but we are now compelled to think of strategies or innovations through which we will be able to produce infinite resources to kind of feed our appetite, or we need some technological breakthrough, or maybe we need some kind of paradigm shifts to reset the clock in order to avoid the potential collapse of the earth. And again we can see the rate of urbanization, the accelerating rate of urbanization is evident through these numbers. I will not go into the details, but again in 1915 the urban population was like 1 billion. Within a gap, within 26 years, that is in 1850, it grew to 2 billion. To become 3 billion, it just needed 13 years and so on. Sorry, 17 years, and then from here to become 4 billion, it just took like 13 years, and it moves on like that. So, this is a kind of linear exponential growth. Now, so far as this scale of urbanization is concerned, I would like to specifically mention about this particular book, which again has been published in 2017. So, and the author is Geoffrey West. So, Geoffrey West in this particular book called Scale, the Universal Laws of Growth, Innovation, Sustainability and the Pace of Life in Organisms, Cities, Economies and Companies. So, in this book, he really tries to draw our attention to the scale of urbanization, emphasizing on the very fact that size and also numbers really matter. And what we see now, that cities are bigger than any other time. So, this is something new, this is something unprecedented which is happening in our contemporary times. So, cities are bigger than at any other time in terms of their physical extent, in terms of the physical extent, in terms of population sizes, economic importance and environmental impacts. So, these are all the parameters through which we can see that how the cities are growing exponentially in their size, in numbers, in spread, and how this is exerting a whole lot of pressure on the earth system. So, again some data about cities with more than 1 million, with more than million population. And so, size and scale and numbers, the importance of scale in the kind of understanding in capturing the present urban moment. So, now we will come to shifting geographies of urbanization, and I think this is very, very important, because we have to understand that one of the major change that we are encountering now is that that urbanization has shifted to the global south. So, we are in this era of unprecedented mega urbanization, and the largest megalopolises of the 21st century, they are in the global south. So, a tremendous increase in the numbers and size of these developing cities. So, these data will show or demonstrate these shifting geographies of urbanization. So, what we see is that the world's largest internal migration of rural people to urban areas has been happening on a remarkable scale. And if we consider Asia, then since 1990s, this is going on in huge proportion. And between the very important centers or countries are China, India, etc. So, between 1990 and 2017, China was the leading rural out-migrating society in the world. So, falling from 73%, this is quite remarkable. So, falling from 73.56 to 42.04% of rural population, followed by Southeast Asia. So, this data is also very important in terms of the Southeast Asian countries, including Thailand, including Indonesia, etc. So, in case of Thailand, we see a sharp decline in the rural population from 80% in 1960 to 48.48%, almost half, right, within a period of I think less than 50 years. So, the numbers falling, the percentage falling from 80% to 48.46 between 1960 and 2060. Same with Indonesia. So, for Indonesia, the numbers are like 69.42% in 1900 to 45.34% in 2017. So, and Malaysia, from 50.21% in 1900 to 24.55% in 2017. So, we can see this Southeast Asian countries data that how this rural out-migration is taking place. So, again this is projected, and this is the projection by World Urbanization Prospects 2019. So, that is the latest one. I think the World Urbanization Prospects to 2020 is yet to come, and it has not been disseminated yet. So, 2019 is the latest data set that we have with ourselves. And by the projection is that by 2030, the urban population in China is expected to exceed 1 billion. So, which is an increase of 400 million, and it will result in the creation of at least 30 cities of 1 million. You can understand the scale. And India is projected to even surpass that of China, with its urban population nearly doubling from today's 350 million to 611 million, and with an addition of 26 cities of 1 million. So, you can understand the size, the scale, and the kind of pressure it will be exerting on the earth system. So, I mean I think like this is a crucial critical juncture, which definitely which infiltrates lot of apprehensions among us. So, definitely we can understand that through those figures, that what would be the kind of impact that this urbanization will be crafting on planet Earth, because it is already doing that. So, it is already exerting pressure at all levels. So, I think I would like to draw your attention to one or two important factors in terms of the relationship between the urban and the environment. So, if we are thinking about urban nature, if we want to discuss extensively discuss the issue of urban nature and how urban nature is produced, manipulated, manufactured, tamed, etc. So, we need to know about some of the processes through which these mechanisms or these complex interactions actually occur. So, I will draw your attention to to some of the works, most importantly we already discussed Mint, but I would also like to draw your attention to this particular book, and this I find a very useful edited volume covering stories from cities of the north and cities of the global south, and you can see that what are the crucial problems across cutting economic, political and environmental challenges. And this book not only are the various chapters that are there in this book on different cities, like the city of Kolkata, like the city of some Latin American cities, like some African cities. So, if you see this book, you will understand that how this the cities are not only kind of facing a lot of constraints or challenges, but in the cities themselves also provide lot of opportunities, which we really need to understand. So, if we are in a better position to kind of identify and map both challenges and opportunities, then I think we not only get heavily loaded by the doomsday message, but we also are in a position to capacitate the potential levers of the urban environment through which resilience can actually be nurtured. So, this is that book where these chapters provide the narratives of both challenges and existing opportunities, which need to be tapped and harnessed for making the cities sustainable and resilient. So, I would encourage you to go through, if you cannot go through all the chapters, and the good news is that this book is an open access book. So, you can just type the name and you will be able to download the whole book. So, and I will very much encourage you to go through the introduction, because the introduction is also brilliant, because they have introduced a lot of concepts in this introduction, and these different concepts that actually enable us to really understand the complex interactions between the urban and the environment. And Andrea and Mark Swilling, they are like fascinating urban experts and urban researchers who by themselves they have like produced very good cutting edge radical works. And I would also be very happy that if you can also go through some of their articles that discuss urban environmental issues extensively. So, with this I would also like to talk about peri-urbanization. Peri-urbanization as a recent phenomena, or if not recent, but like peri-urbanization as a phenomenon which can be contextualized within the present context of unprecedented mega-urbanization. So, what is happening is that the way this urban these cities, the core cities of the global south are expanding. So, they are kind of they are swallowing like the surrounding ecological infrastructures in the form of wetlands, lakes, arable lands, pastures, other forms of water bodies, etc. And so, what is happening is that these spaces are the spaces which have urbanized, but they lack infrastructure. So, they unfortunately they suffer from this syndrome of what Adriana calls urbanization without infrastructure. So, we will learn about these challenges, about this crisis that this developing cities of the global south are facing more in our in the next lecture, where we learn about their additional vulnerabilities in the present context. But here finally, I would like to talk about the implications that the way the world is urbanizing, the way planetary urbanization is taking place in our contemporary times. It is having a lot of complex, it's generating significant implications. So, what is happening is that the balance between the urban and its wider ecological setting, this balance has been disrupted, this balance has been destabilized, because there has been a shift from the metabolic relationship between the urban and its wider ecological infrastructures, from so the sustainable flows between urban and its peri-urban, this has been destabilized like anything. So, now the relationship has really transformed from a mutually interdependent one to a mutually truncated equation. So, which is very unfortunate, with a whole lot of ramifications, or with whole lot of cyclical implications and impact for the planet and its inhabitants. So, yes, these are some of the references, and I think the key highlights or the concluding line of arguments would be that in this lecture we have been able to cover these important facts. So, I think we could establish that why we should perceive urbanization of our contemporary times as the indicator of the current amplitude of the Anthropocene. So, like whether we use urban Anthropocene or whether we use Urbanogenesis, that is a different debate altogether, but there is no doubt about the fact that this urban is a major variable in kind of facilitating this Anthropocene. So, and I think I very quickly should mention that there are works, and in the Anthropocene lecture we already talked about the 1950s syndrome, if you remember, right. So, we talked about the great acceleration period, that how earth system scientists like Will Stephen, they argue that Anthropocene actually began in 1950s, and if you remember that 1950s is also the period from when there was a massive change in the rate of urbanization. So, in 1945 there was increase in the megacities from 2 to 25. So, one can understand that how this urbanization and urban patterns of life and livelihoods are also kind of crafting stratigraphic signatures. So, are crafting imprints on the rock strata. So, this is having, or it will also have its future geographical proof. So, there is no doubt about the fact that urbanization is the indicator of the current amplitude of the Anthropocene. So, we also discussed how this changing nature of the 21st century urbanization, of the contemporary urbanization, can actually be validated through the shifting rate, scale and geographies of urbanization. We also touched upon the mega urban challenges of the global south, and in our next lecture we would get a lot of chance to kind of discuss in detail about these additional vulnerabilities or additional challenges for the developing cities. So, thank you all.